Hello again, it's me, Gina. I hope that you're doing well out there, staying seizure-free for this great Epilepsy Awareness Month 2025. I just want to talk about medication side effects, seizure side effects, things that you do to help you with your seizures and to stay safe. So for me, I have camera right up there. I have another one across the room. What's over there? To kind of help keep an eye on myself when I'm having seizures, because I don't always know that I've had one. And sometimes I'll find out later in the day that I had a seizure earlier in the day. And when that happens, I like to go back and watch the videos to see if I notice anything different in my seizures than my previous seizures, see if there's anything that's changed, see how long it lasted, see anything different before the seizure came on. Yeah, because I have found things over the years that have changed. And I wish I would have known about cameras sooner. So maybe that's something that you could think about is if you're in a position where you can have cameras in your home, that's been a great help to me in monitoring my seizures and how they've changed over the years. I started out being diagnosed before I'd ever had a seizure, then several months later having a seizure, and diagnosed at 14, having my first seizure at 15. I had had an EEG for a different reason, and then they found seizure activity. So then I had a 24-hour EEG, and it confirmed that I had epilepsy, and my grandmother had had it. So it wasn't a huge surprise, but that's when we found out for sure that it was hereditary. My daughter does have epilepsy. I have two sons that are perfectly fine. I have one cousin. There's 23 of us in my generation. One cousin that has epilepsy. Another cousin who has 3 sons with epilepsy. One of my brothers, I have 3. One of them had seizures as a baby, the febrile seizures, outside of having fever or any sickness, but he grew out of those and is fine, has been fine his entire life since then. For me, I had the grand mal seizures at 15 and 2 of them in the same day. Stressed out about my move. We were moving from New York to Florida, and I didn't want to. And I was a teenager and very rebellious. I just did not want to go. So I think maybe the stress brought that on. It was my last day at school before the move. It was on a Friday, and Monday I went back to school as a visitor for the day to be able to say goodbye to my friends before moving. So that was nice that I had the opportunity to do that at the time. I'm now living back in New York, but that was my life then. I've been on multiple medications over the years, so very many. Medications in the beginning that I found out later on I should never have been put on because they actually made my seizures, mine, worse. And I was first diagnosed with juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. It's one of the more common types of epilepsy, but later found out I did not have JME. My doctor calls me a mystery, so I'm a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Some of my seizures start out focal, some of them start out generalized, and it's bilateral left to right, but it's like right in the middle, deep in my frontal lobe. But they can't pinpoint exactly where. Right now I have a VNS. I've been on a ketogenic diet. One of the medications that I was taking before being on the ketogenic diet made me lose a lot of weight. I had trouble talking to my doctor at the time about that because she said that that medication would not cause me to lose weight, and it did. And I talked to a pharmacist, and the pharmacist told me about 4% of people on that medication do lose weight. They have problems with that. So, it just a little advice to you. If you're having problems with the medication, pharmacists do often know a lot about side effects, and you can talk to them as well, and then try talking to your doctor again. So I was taken off that medication and put onto another one. I take a couple medications, that was just one of them. And also tried the ketogenic diet. Now I was 112 pounds at 5'2" when I started that one medication, and I was upper 90s when I finally came off of that medication and switched to a different one as an add-on medication. So on the ketogenic diet, I lost a lot more weight. It's low carb, high fat, high protein. For me, I was told a maximum of 20 grams of carbs a day. Really hard. One can of Pepsi has, I think, 38 grams of carbs. So, me personally, I have a problem with drinking a lot of Pepsi. So I had to switch to diet, or Pepsi 1, I think, is what I went to. Now, none of this is medical advice. I do want to put that out there. Talk to your doctor before trying anything. Because your health, you and your physicians are going to know more about that. So this is not advice. This is just my story, my experience. With my seizures, sometimes I have aphasia, so I have trouble while I'm recovering from some of my seizures coming out with the right words. Sometimes I'm able to write the words, but I'm unable to say them, and that sounds weird, but it's true. People that have had strokes or a brain injury, sometimes they have aphasia as well. We mean to say one word, we're thinking of the correct thing, but it'll come out something totally different, or we just stay totally stumped. We don't know what the word is, but we can picture it in our heads. It's very difficult sometimes. Biting my tongue, falling, getting banged up, bruised up. Joints, muscles really sore. I explain it as hiking the entire Appalachian Trail in one day and then deciding I want to go to the gym and lift 200 pounds, do a few repetitions of that. Not that I could ever do that, but just because I am so sore, and that can last for days and days and days. My tongue, my mouth will be bleeding from biting my tongue during the seizure. And these are my tonic-clonics when I have those. Sometimes because of the adrenaline rush during the seizure and the tachycardia that I also have when I have my seizures, and getting a lot of lactic acid build up in my muscles from that can also cause my muscles to be sore for days. And I naturally have a high lactic acid level anyway. It's probably, I'm guessing, associated with whatever mutations I have in my genes, since my epilepsy is genetic. And maybe there's some of you out there that can relate. But don't feel alone. There's a lot of us out there that have idiopathic epilepsy that can't pinpoint exactly what's causing it. My epilepsy medication makes me super tired. Super, super tired. And my daughter Sometimes she's a little tired in the morning when she takes hers, and at night she's super tired. Her dosage is a little higher at night on one of her medications. So it is a common side effect: fatigue, drowsiness, sleepiness. It makes life very difficult just to feel so physically drained, mentally drained, and you just want to sleep. And sometimes I can't fight the drowsiness. I just need to sleep. And if I don't have the sleep, it can make my seizures worse sometimes because I didn't get that sleep. So, let me know what kind of side effects you've experienced from your medications, what kind of effects you've had from your seizures. I'd really like to know. And maybe someone else watching this video and reading the comments will learn something too. And I want us to come together as a team. I want people to not feel alone. I want people out there to know that more needs to be done to help fight this illness. And it's not being done. There's so many other medical conditions out there that have tons of treatment and far less people suffering from this, far less deaths from their illnesses, and yet epilepsy doesn't get enough attention. We need to find a cure. We need to find better treatment. We need to find treatments that don't make us tired, affect our moods, that can just make us grumpy or depressed. So many side effects out there. It's terrible. It's terrible treatment for our seizures, and a lot of times we're just guinea pigs. The doctors don't know what medications will work best for each individual, because what helps one person with a type of seizure, you can have someone else with the same type of seizures, and it's not helping that person, even though it's helping one person. It totally doesn't work for another. So, if you have 75% of people this medication is working for a type of seizure, it's a good idea to try that medication sometimes. And it doesn't mean it's going to work, but it's sometimes a shot in the dark, and we just hear where the noise is coming from, so we aim in that direction. And hopefully it'll work, but sometimes it doesn't. Many of us experience dislocated joints during our tonic-clonic seizures, and we don't even realize it. It pops out, pops back in when we fall, or just because the intensity of our muscles tightening up and stretching out, your shoulder can pop out and pop back in from a fall or from your muscles. It's crazy to know that, and that soreness can last for days. You can fall down the stairs and end up with worse injuries from having a seizure. Oh my goodness, it's so dangerous. You can die in your sleep. SUDEP, it's a real thing. Sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. And that often happens from tonic-clonic seizures. They don't even understand fully what causes it. It could be breathing or heart related. They're not sure. No, none of these studies can really say for sure what causes SUDEP, because someone that dies from a seizure may not match another person that dies from a seizure, and may not match another third person that dies from a seizure. And it's just, like I said, there's not enough understood about epilepsy, and there really needs to be a lot more research. There needs to be a cure found. At the very minimum, so much better treatment for us. Please, please, please like, subscribe, definitely comment, share your thoughts, share your experiences. Try to help each other. Help me. and help me to help you and help others. And from the bottom of my heart, I wish you a seizure-free day, seizure-free life. Please reach out, help me, help others. Don't be shy, don't be afraid. Be gentle, be polite to those that you know have epilepsy. It's not easy. It is so hard and sometimes so very scary. And sometimes, as I said, I don't even know when I've had one. I can find out several hours later, a day later, and be told, you had a seizure. I'm like, I did? Really? So then I look on the video and I see it if I'm in the room where my cameras are. I just ordered a couple new cameras because mine tend to glitch a lot. They're old and I needed to replace them. So hopefully I'll get my new cameras put up and hopefully they'll work better. Maybe I'll put my other cameras in rooms I'm not in as often, but that I am in, and my old cameras, and that way I don't miss seizures that I have when I'm not in the living room where I spend most of my time. All right. Well, again, God bless. Sending my love. And don't forget, get those comments out there. God bless, guys. Bye.